this point in time, I wanted to suggest the following thought. That in most lifetime systems, or most systems of life, and most systems of how to develop and become a great person, or a good person, let's leave it at that for the moment, we've achieved that. I'm thinking, I'm learning, I'm growing, I got great friends, I know good people, I got a great job, I'm advancing in my schooling, and I'm handling all my life's challenges with the kind of control that gives me the fulfillment. I'm married, I got a couple of kids, things are great. So why the need for more? I've covered in 29 ways, 6 steps. What do I need for more? Or 6 groupings, at least 29 ways. What do I need more for? Judaism postulates that you do need more. All other isms in the world say these others do exist, but they're not imperative. Judaism, the Torah, demands that they're imperative. What are these last 2 phases of your life? So, one is called the emotional, and the other is called the spiritual. Emotional means to really get in touch or really get involved and really embrace something with great passion. Systems, isms, jobs, ideas, causes don't demand that. You're good at your job, you're good at your job. I don't have to love it. I'm a good Christian. I go to church every Sunday. I'm done. I don't make this overwhelming the rest of my life. Life is great. I mean, I'm good with my kids, and I love my kids, and I love my family, and this and that. I'm no longer get out of bed, out of shape over all these exciting things. And you don't have to be. You can be a very simple man, simple lady, and just live simply and good and contributive. The Torah seems to indicate that being good is not good enough. The Torah says for all of us that we need to strive for greatness. Thou shalt be great is the command of the 48 ways. Thou shalt be great in life, in Judaism, in your job, in your family, in anything you do, you should strive to achieve the greatest level you can on your personal level. The maximum. Maximum is more than good. Maximum is great. Now your greatness may not be, let's say the other guy's greatness or whatever. That's okay. But at least you know that you've achieved the top that you can. And you have done, and you've gone the extra mile for that. To do that becomes the search for passion. I love Judaism. I love my job. Should. I love my wife. I love my children in a way that says that this is everything to me. It's all consuming. All consuming. It really is my essence. Well, that becomes a fanatic.
That's not moderation.
You're right. So what are we saying here? Moderation only works and is only appropriate in the physical area. That's where you should moderate. Because moderation with physicality gives control. Control is greatness. Control is fanatic, so to speak. Because after all, if I say to you, I've had enough drinks for tonight, I gotta drive home, I'm in control. That's a person who is tight, powerful, strong, and cannot be moved or influenced any other way. That's a pretty strong guy. That sounds like a fanatic. Now, fanaticism is not exactly a popular word. Extremism is a very unpopular word. We're promoting it. What's wrong with extremists? What's wrong with fanatics? What's wrong with them is that they don't understand that there are others that are not there. You see? If I'm an extremist and I love my Torah and my Judaism, but someone else doesn't, and I become intolerant of that, that's an extremist or a fanatic. That is not workable. That's not going to work. Now, I'm in the middle of something very important, and you're disturbing me. Shut up. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, you understand I don't know how to use this, of course, but we're learning how to do it. Here we go. Goodbye. See you around. So we want to become great here. Become great, you got to become extreme. You can't be so laid back, chilled California. That's not what we're teaching. Chill out. Relax. Don't get that intense. There's a difference between intensity and tension. Tension is no good. Agreed. Tension only makes people more pressured and more overwhelmed. But intensity makes you even more powerful, more contributive, and more active. A person who's intense acts and succeeds. A person who's under tension falls apart. He can't handle it. My favorite example, of course, is Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, excuse me about baseball. Reggie Jackson got up into the World Series and hit 3 home runs. You know why he got hit 3 home runs? Because he felt the intensity of the moment, but not the tension. The 7th game, the 6th game of the World Series. Big time! How does a man flower and prosper in the big show? The answer is because he feels the intensity of the moment. Can't wait to swing the bat. But he doesn't feel any tension. No tension, no pressure. If I strike out, I strike out. But I'm going to give it my best. You see? So, we're promoting extremism. Thou shalt be extreme in your love for your spouse. Thou shalt be extreme in your love for your children. Extreme in your love for your God, for what you do in life. Extremism, passion, intensity are powerfully positive things that can make a person or transform a person from good to great. And greatness is an option in the rest of the world. It's not an option by us. If you want to have the full essence of what Torah is, you got to see greatness. Tell me the mitzvahs, tell me how to do them, and give me the top line. The top of the line. Don't give me a watered down conservatism or a watered down reform or a watered down compromise. Give me the real thing. Give me what you got. So this is what we call the love factor, the passion factor, the extremism. It's considered a major issue of growth as far as our religion is concerned, and it's called, and basically it's all called love. It's emotion, it's passion, it's a seeking of greatness. What can I do to be the best? In love, there are 6 steps. And they are, interestingly enough, the first one is, I want to be loved. How to become loved. Now, I'm going to skip that tonight because I want to get into actual loving and how to become a good lover. So, it's hard for me to understand really why it's there first, but because I have to double back to really get a perspective on it. But being loved means, if you really want to be loved, and that is an important component of being a good lover, an important component of being a passionate person who seeks greatness, then it must be that you have to develop the kind of qualities that make you loved. And it must mean that when you do, or when you are feeling loved, you are filled with an enormous and incredible energy. An energy that feels so powerful inside you that you can conquer the world. Nothing can stand in my way. And therefore, when you get a response of love from people that are close to you, your family, your friends, maybe your co-workers, whatever it is, that just kicks you into high gear to want to do more of the kind of good things that will bring about more love for you. So it's I guess it's first because what it's trying to say is that develop the qualities that make you loved, because once you do it, once you get loved, you are going to move, and you're going to really feel filled with excitement and energy in everything you do in life. And so that's why being loved is first, but I'm not focusing on that tonight. We'll do that next week in Hashem. I want to focus instead on ways 31, 32, 33, 34. Love God, love people, love righteousness, and love straight road. And there is one more love after that, and that's called love criticism. Now, in loving criticism, it doesn't mean I can handle criticism, I can tolerate it, I can take it. I want it. I'm begging for it. How much do you charge me? I'll pay. Tell me off. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Because if you do, I'll get better. I owe you. I'll pay for it. Persons should seek out a friend, even more than a teacher and a Rebbe, because the friend will tell you what the Rebbe sometimes is hesitant to tell you. Maybe he doesn't want to offend you, turn you off, maybe, but a friend will tell you straight. He'll tell you straight where you acting like a goofball. And tell you what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is so important that you gotta really love it. You gotta embrace it. You gotta really want it. And I think that to a great extent, that works with the first one, being loved. In other words, I want to be loved means I want someone to care for me. I want someone to care for me to tell me what I'm doing wrong. I want someone, please help me, to give me the advice that I need. And so that kind of caring is what it means to be loved. How does it feel when no one cares for you, or the person you care about doesn't care for you? It's horribly depressing. You feel loved is the concept that someone's going to tell you and direct you and help you and give you the what you need to get out there in the public and do what you need to do. And so therefore, we want to say that these two, 30 and 35, almost work hand in hand. Want to be loved, and love criticism. And that works together. We're going to focus on 31, 32, 33, 34, how to become a good lover, loving God, loving people, loving the prayer, loving righteousness, and loving the straight path. So let's start with loving God. So the first thing you know is that Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. Followed by V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha, you shall love the Lord your God. Why is this concept of God being one followed by love of God? The answer is very simple. Love can't be divided. If you have multiple gods, then you got to share your love with this God, that God, this God, that God. If you have multiple wives, then you got to share your love with this wife, that wife, and this wife, and that wife. You can't do that. That's not love. Love is at such a high parameter that it is exclusive for this single place, single person.
Ahava and Echad have the same numerical.
That's right. That's very smart of you. That's very brilliant. That's right. The number's 13. That's correct. Ahava is love, and Echad is one, and they both have the same numerical value, 13. In other words, you shall love the Lord your God, and then it says a very important word, and it says it 3 times. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might. And the key word is all, everything you got. All of your love is for God. So, what does it mean? That if you're Hashem Echad, you're the one, it means that you're the only one. You're the one and only. and you're the only thing in the world that matters. It's you and you only. That's a really, really powerful development within the person of a deep, deep relationship with God. But how do you do it? So basically the way to do it is with all your heart, and with the key word being all again, all your soul, all your might. What does that mean? Well, your heart means all of the things you want out of life. All my desires, all my interests. That's all I want at the end of the day is to have God's love. To love God. That's what I want. That's what I really want. Whatever else I get, it's a bonus. Maybe. I don't get much more else. I never made a lot of money. Never could hold down a job. This problem, that problem. One of my problems was that I didn't want to work Saturday, and I had no choice. I lost a job here and I lost a job there. At least I had my God. So I didn't eat as good as the other guy, or have as nice a home as the other guy, or drive a good car. I didn't drive any car at all, but I knew I had Hashem. Furthermore, I felt that whatever I was missing in life, having Hashem was the greatest pleasure of all. And so that's why, all my love is for Hashem. And that's all my other interests. But do you have other interests? Sure, I like to have a little more money. Sure, I like to get married. Sure, I like to have kids. But not at the expense of Hashem. But you're in love with this person who's not Jewish. I know. I can't take that chance of abandoning God. Even though I truly care for her a lot. I can't take that chance. I want to leave God. And I really want that job, but I can't work. So I can't leave Hashem and work Saturdays, Shabbos. And so all of my essential want is Hashem. Everything else that comes is a bonus. And if that is a bonus, who do you thank for it? Hashem. You gave a couple of bonuses. Now, it means your whole soul, it means your life. You gotta really die for God. What does it mean to die for God? It means that situations can occur in which I can be challenged, heavy challenged, to the extent of my life. And I have to make a choice. Do I live like a goy? Or do I die like a Jew? Do I compromise my values in order to survive? Or do I know that ultimately Hashem will not abandon me? Now these are very, very difficult, very demanding situations. But we have to have that sense about us that my sense of Hashem is to accept whatever He throws at me, whether it's even death. I will not abandon my God. Avram Avinu has to sacrifice his son. The son he loves. That's what he's prayed for all his life. But if that's Hashem's will, there must be a message in it. I will not abandon Hashem. And then the last one is b'chol miyadecha, all your might, all your money, all your soul, all your possessions, everything you got. Every dime belongs to Hashem. What does that mean? That means that I have to be willing to not just die for God, but more challengingly, live for God. Living means giving up a whole lot more. If you die, you die. But if you live, you gotta give up this, give up that, give up this, give up that, and live according to Hashem's dictates to have that relationship. And I'm going to maintain my love of Hashem at all costs. Now, this idea of giving to Hashem and loving Hashem, and developing this kind of love, is really the development. It's really, basically, it's a definition of love. How do you love? What is love? Right? I should advertise a class, what is love? Have 5,000 people come, each pay me $25, I'll be a rich man. But I'm going to give you a secret free of charge. What is love? Love is with your whole want, with your whole soul, and with your whole everything you got. You love your child, you give everything for your child. You're hungry? I can't worry about that. You want to make money? I can't worry about that. I got to take care of my son. I got to take care of my daughter. That's more important. God forbid my child's in danger. I'll throw myself in front of the car to protect him. I'll give my life for my child. Live for my child. For everything I do, whatever I do for him. Whatever my child needs. You need the $10,000 for tuition to go to school. It's $10,000. But I was saving that $10,000 for a massive vacation in Mexico. No, the vacation in Mexico is not that important. My child is. Comes out that's the definition of love. That's love. Now that we understand what it is, and of course we commit it to Hashem, the key is to commit it to Hashem in such a way where I realize that I owe him everything. And that's really whom you love. Who do you love? You love someone whom you appreciate the most. How can you not love your parents? Parents gave you life, gave you this, gave you that, everything. You owe them everything. That sense of appreciation, that acknowledgement is so powerful that it actually brings you to a tremendous sense of appreciation of what you've been given, which simply means you're taking pleasure in what you've been given. Honor your father and mother. Why? So you have a long life. What's the concept? The concept's very simple. Whatever your parents gave you or didn't give you, they at least gave you life. If you're appreciative of that, then you like living. You're enjoying life. They'll give you more of it, says God, as a reward. But if, let's say, you don't appreciate your parents for that gift, maybe you don't like living. If that's the case, we'll shorten your life. Make it better for you. That's what Hashem is telling you. So the whole idea is to learn to love Hashem and to love your parents and to love everyone because of the appreciation you have for them. How much would you appreciate your husband, your wife? How much would you appreciate your children? How much you appreciate all the gifts you have in life? Of course, the ultimate love is God. Why? Because everything you got is from him. And so we have a general Jewish law, halacha, which teaches us when you come to shul on Shabbat, or any day for that matter, and you bring your little child with you, you're not allowed to kiss your child in shul. Because you shouldn't show him love in the place of Hashem. We owe Hashem more, and you love Hashem more. Why do you love Hashem more than your child? Because Hashem gave you the child. They gave it to you in the first place. And again, what is love? Love is appreciating what you've been given. Now, appreciation is a very amazing thing. Appreciation is the sense of, I don't deserve. Where do we learn that from? From Leah. Leah, our mother, right, is one of 4 wives to Yaakov Avinu. She is in a prophetic vision sees that with 4 wives, my husband is destined to have 12 tribes, 12 children, each wife gets 3. And one day she gets her 4th, Yehuda. And she says, Hashem, Hapam, this time, Odeh, I'm grateful. Because this one I didn't deserve. I deserve 3, not 4. I got more than I deserve. So Leah calls him Yehuda. What does Yehuda mean? Hoda'ah. Lahodo, Todah. Thank you. The whole idea of us as Yehudim, Jews, is we are appreciative people. And that's why the essence of appreciation is so in our DNA that someone who doesn't have it can never join us, can never marry within us, can never convert. That person has to have a sense of appreciation that we deserve nothing. We're appreciative of everything I've got. I'm appreciative I got a coat. The other guy's got a warmer coat, a better coat, but I got this. Appreciative of everything you got. When you have that, then you have a lot of love. And when you have that kind of love, then you give all of it back to the source, to Hashem. And therefore, when you start giving that love, and you start feeling the connection that the love brings, you are given an incredible level of pleasure. Love leads to pleasure, the pleasure of knowing that you're in safe hands, the pleasure of knowing that Hashem is there for you. Of course, my Rebbe used to say to me all the time, Tzvi, you know I love you? I said, certainly, Rebbe. He said, guess what? Hashem loves you 10 times more. That's what he told me. Gets you that sense of realization of what you've got. Now, to be honest, I guess now is the time to talk about it. Rabbi Noach's world famous 5 levels of pleasure. How many people know what the 5 levels of pleasure? Anybody? Nobody. 5 levels of pleasure. 5 being lowest, 1 being top. What are the 5 levels of pleasure in this world that give people real pleasure? Well, number 5 is physical pleasure. Right? A little drink, a little food, a little pleasure, ice cream. I mean, the pleasures of life. And they're physical pleasures. And they are real. They make a person feel comforted. They make a person feel good. A nice steak makes a person feel good. You have your wife by your side all the time, you feel good. You have your husband by your side all the time, you feel good. I mean, all these are wonderful pleasures, but they are physical pleasures. And they are the lowest rung of pleasure. Because each pleasure goes up higher. It is so higher above the other that you will give up the lower for the higher. And of course, the next one then, level 4, is we call family. Family, you'll give up all the physical pleasure in the world for your family, for your parents, for your children, for the ones you love. You'll give up everything. I mean, how much you haven't got that much food on the table, you give all to your kids. I mean, so what? Yeah, so you won't eat. I mean, and you care for someone enough that you'll forego anything from any physical pleasure of your own. Certainly, a husband and wife. Husband will give up anything to make sure that his wife is healthy, and the sense of even the sexual relationship between husband and wife is such there has to be that giving up in order to really sense the love of the person next to you. I'm not here for me, I'm here for you. And that really is the defining definition of the sexual intimacy. I'm not here for me, I'm here for you. Each one says it too. Rabbi used to say, Rabbi Noach used to say, you're not permitted to have sex for pleasure. You shall have sex to give pleasure. Whole new concept, whole new idea of how people connect on an intimate level to the extent that it becomes positive, beautiful, enriching, rather than disgusting and something you want, distasteful, so to speak.
Isn't you're supposed to do it only to bring kids?
No, to the contrary. Because if that were true, then when your wife is pregnant, you shouldn't have sex. The reality is that you should have pleasure. But what is the pleasure that you get? There's no greater pleasure than giving pleasure. When you know you've pleased someone, when you know that you've been there for someone and given him or her so much that the reaction is so strong and so beautiful, you feel beautiful. So therefore, the idea is that family is a greater pleasure than physical. Pleasure number 3, greater than family, is a cause. The cause for which a person will live for, die for, and give everything he's got up for it, because he believes the cause so much. Now, any Israeli soldier that goes to war and puts his life in danger, he's got to believe it's for a cause. Otherwise, he's crazy. It doesn't make sense. My father, blessed memory, went off to war in 1941. Didn't wait to be drafted. He volunteered. What was the cause? Destroy Nazis. What was the cause? Save the world for freedom. Mom and Dad, Mom wouldn't be well, they were dating. Dad said to Mom, I'm off to danger of war and this and that, he said, maybe you should try to date others. And that's how they left in the early part of 1942, after the war began in December 41. So I often tell it as a real romantic story. Mom wrote back to Dad in 1943 when Dad was in Italy overtaking Mussolini, and she said, I tried your advice and it didn't work. I want you. So I told him when I heard the story, I said, Mom, I'm good for that, because I wouldn't be here. So I'm pretty grateful for that. And Dad went ahead right after that and took his paintbrush and painted on his airplane, because he was a gunner in the Air Force, Mom's name on the airplane. And of course he came back, thank God, and they got married and had me. So the idea, of course, is that people do that. I mean, the loss of life tragically in Israel, Israeli soldiers, is so sad and heart-rending and painful, but people do it. What's the cause? Our country, our people, our families. I'm going to give my life. The cause is stronger than family. What's pleasure number 2? Pleasure number 2 is a very interesting pleasure. It's the pleasure that Donald Trump enjoys. Wants power, control, to do good. I want to do good. I want to bring prosperity to the country. I want to bring peace to the country. I want to do all the things that I believe are right for this country. Make America great again. But I gotta have the power to do it. So I'll knock my brains out, spend my money, and in fact, I will not sleep nights and demand of myself and do whatever it takes to be elected. Because once I'm elected, wow, I can do. And that is an enormous pleasure. To be able to achieve so much good for so many. Give me the power. Give me the power. Now, people oftentimes need the power in smaller things. How many husbands and wives fight over who's going to drive? I'm driving. I'm a bad driver. I need to be in control. Right? I need to have this. I need to have that. I need to be in control of situations. If you're a worker in a company, a lot of times you just can't control the situation, and you feel a little restricted and almost handcuffed. So one day you say, I've had enough of this. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to open up my own company and do my own thing. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm in control. It is an enormous pleasure. And so, now you come to the first and most powerful pleasure of all. Thank you. And I made a bracha before, so I don't need another one. What's the greatest pleasure of all? Number 1, love of God. Why? Because at the end of the day, what you realize and learn from all this is that the ultimate power that anybody can ever achieve in this world is only through God. Because God's the ultimate power. If you're connected, then you win. If you're not, and you're president of the United States, you lose. People who seek power and ignore God will eventually lose. Leiv Malachim biyad Hashem. The heart of kings is in the hands of God. So all of a sudden you see somebody do something really stupid as a leader. And you wonder why. Well, he's an intelligent man. It's because God put in his head, in his mind, in his heart, do this. Because that was what God wanted. And so, here's World War II raging. And Germany is rampaging through Europe. And the Japanese are rampaging through Asia, the Axis nations. And they're pretty heavy winning. All of a sudden, for some stupid reason, Japan decides to bomb Pearl Harbor. What is he, an idiot? What is he thinking? And the decisive victory in Pearl Harbor, so what do you do next? You go home? No, you go further. Take over San Francisco. Take over the United States. Come on, little giant Japan. If you're attacking the guy, attack to win. Why didn't they go further? Why did they attack in the first place? Stupidest maneuver anybody could have ever done. And it caused them destruction. Brought 2 atomic bombs upon them and they lost the war. Now Germany, they're rampaging through Europe and they're killing everybody. Took over France in 70 days. And they're bombarding England and they're pretty much going to win. I know Winston Churchill's got that V sign for victory, but all of a sudden, in the middle of 1941, just about the same time that Japan bombs the United States, Germany attacks Russia. And they can't win. And Russia's bigger than the United States. And little Germany's, how do you do it? What are you, stupid? Capture victories and be done. Hashem put this stupidity in their minds because Hashem controls the world. And Hashem says, I want Germany to lose, I want Japan to lose, and I want these evil people to be stopped. So Hashem gives them the control of their own decisions. As we know, as a bechira chavshis, a free choice. Everybody's got a free choice. But presidents and kings and leaders lose it the moment they don't play ball with God. And they lose all the power they thought. You know, sometimes a taxi driver who makes a decision between what street to turn on can have more power than the President of the United States. Because the President knows what God wants. The President loses everything. He can't even decide, and he makes every decision against his own will. And here's a classic story of it. Balak, king of Moab, calls Bilam. Now, Bilam is this prophet who has all this power to curse and to bless. And this power that Bilam has is an enormous power to inflict harm and or good if he wants, though he likes inflicting harm because he's a harmful person. And Balak says, look, the Jews are marching through the desert, coming out from Egypt, and they're dangerous people, because you see what they did with Egypt. Egypt drowned in the sea. And you see what they did with the Amalekites and the other nations. They're dangerous people. How do I fight them? There's only one way. Since they have God on their side, I gotta fight against God. It's stupid. You want to fight against God. So I hire a curser, a person of prophetic ability, to curse the Jews, and this way I'll win. And you think you can beat God? Okay, try. So he finally persuades Bilam to come. Bilam does appear, and God told him, however, I'll let you go, but you gotta say what I tell you to say. And so, of course, Bilam gets up there, and Balak says, okay, let's go. And he's goading him on and cheering him on. Give a good curse. And all of a sudden, Bilam sticks out his hand, outranges his hands for blessing, and to curse him. And he says, how good we are. Your thanks, Jacob, Yaakov, Mishkanotecha, Yisrael. You are blessed. Balak looks at him and says, what are you, out of your mind? What are you doing? I hired you to come and curse them. You're blessing them? You don't understand, says Bilam. I want to curse them as bad as you do. I just can't. I sure won't let me. Can you imagine a man who, let's say, is making this big speech in front of a lot of people? Maybe the President of the United States. And he's got all these people. State of the Union. You saw the State of the Union, right? So he gets up there in front of the State of the Union, and we're all waiting for his words. Some don't like him, some do like him, whatever. And he starts the speech and he says, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, Jack and Jill went up the hill. And he starts saying babbles of foolishness that is absolute total stupidity. So the people looking. What happened to the guy? He looked nutty. And he goes on with, I want to see cartoons, and I think cartoons are good for America, and I want to bring back Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. And he goes on with the most silliest words of a 4-year-old. That's what Bilam did. He couldn't control what he said. A man has the ability to say what he wants to say. It's a gift for God. He puts a thought inside, puts it down to the mouth and says it out. But if you can't do that, and inside your brain you want to say this and do that, and you cannot, because God controls you. You lost your own self-control. That is called the sense of the higher power. If you want the pleasure of that higher power, real control, then you gotta love Hashem. You gotta connect with Hashem. And that's why the essence of all passions in the world should be the passion for God. The essence of all extremism should be for Hashem, and the essence of all seeking of pleasure should be the pleasure of knowing that you have Hashem in your life. And through whatever crisis or difficulty or challenge you're having, God, wow, how awesome is that? And so that's what we call the love of Hashem. We then go and take this into the form of the love of people. What does the love of people mean? So the problem is, you see, is that it says in the Torah, you shall love your friend as yourself. Problem is, when it says the word friend, Rashi says it means whom you are connected with, your brother, a fellow Jew. Which seems to indicate what? That you don't love non-Jews. But then again, the problem with that is that here in the 48 ways it says, Ohev et habriot, love all creatures, love all humanity. How do we resolve that conflict? Very simple. What we learn is that you shall love your friend like yourself. That love operates in the form of levels, and the highest level of love is the love you have for yourself. You gotta love yourself in order to be able to extend that love to someone else. So if you love your neighbor like yourself, and he comes knocking on your door and says, "Please help me, I'm poor. I need the dinner, money for dinner tonight," and you say to him, "Well, I didn't eat dinner. Neither to you. I'm gonna love you just like I love me. Get out of here." Well, that's counterproductive. Make sure you eat dinner so that you can feel his pain and therefore share with him and give to him. That's the whole idea of loving operates with the top apex on down, and operates in the form of priorities. Yaakov had this problem with the two wives, as you know, the two sisters, and it was forced upon him. He loved Rachel, but he learned to love Leah too. Maybe not the same like you love Rachel. There's different values of different levels of love. You love your parents, you love your children, you love your siblings, you love your grandparents, you love your cousins, and it goes on and on, it extends. But as it extends, it goes down. But ultimately, it does extend. So eventually, I love Jews first. I love my people first. That comes first. But if I do love my people, then I can feel the need to love other people. But if on the other hand you're a hypocrite, and you say to yourself, "Well, I love humanity, but I hate my parents. And I care for all the oppressed peoples, and all the blacks and Mexicans, but I can't stand my wife and my husband," you're a hypocrite. Because it's got to start where it's really intense, where it's really connected. So you can't have this sense of general love without specific, and specific with the strength that the specific deserves. It starts with yourself, it goes on to your spouse, it goes on to your children, on to your parents, and so forth and so on. And it extends on in a downward level, but it's still there. Yes, he loved Rachel more than Leah. But he loved Leah. He found a love for her. And that's what we have to do. We have to love people. Now, in loving people, how do we understand it? Once we understand how the sense of our own and our own perspective and our own parents and our own family and our own love of our own people, We extend the love to humanity by virtue of our love of God. In other words, I see, and this is a very important definition of love, by the way. A love has not only with the totality of its intensity, and not only with the sense of everything you give for it, but it's all, and the great pleasure that it offers, but it's also the kind of love that you see virtue and beauty in your object of love. Man sees that in his wife. Wife sees that in her husband. You see in your children. Some people see their children a little too much. My kid can't do wrong. Well, wait a second. I mean, I know you love him. I know you're prejudiced, but you got a little objective too. But that's good because you love your child. Point is that when you have this sense of seeing a beauty in the person, a virtue in the person, a quality in the person, what do you have to see in the person? It's the image of God. Now, let's say someone's evil and he does not act in the image of God. He certainly does not deserve your love. And you should not love him. In fact, you should hate him. A man acts like a Nazi, a Ku Klux Klan, certainly should hate him. More than hate him, kill him. But when it comes to someone who's a good human being, you see virtue and beauty in the person. You see the image of God in the person. You see the sweetness of the person. You see the smile of the person. Even though the person is not your fan of other people, you have a love for him. Because you have a love for Hashem. And you honor him and respect him and treat him with that respect. I once said the story of the great Rabbi Yaakov Yosef Herman in New York, who and then moved to Eretz Yisrael after that, who felt that every time someone knocked on the door, he would receive that person, he'd put his jacket on and look proper and presentable. The image of God is at my door. I can't look over there in a t-shirt. Not even shirt sleeves. I gotta dress properly. The image of God. Look at another person, look at the godly person, so to speak. So the idea is that you see the beauty in that person. You see the qualities in that person. Now, in this kind of love, one thing does not operate, and that is physicality. Physical issues, or what you get from the person in terms of physicality, means nothing. The person gives you a dinner, that's not the reason for love. It's a lot of reason for appreciating. That appreciation brings love. But the dinner itself is meaningless. And that's the relationship between a husband and wife on an intimate level. It's not the physicality, it's the fact that you gave it to me, and the fact that I appreciate you. That's a whole different step, whole different realm of love. Nothing to do with physicality at all. So therefore, we see it doesn't even play a role. At the end of the day, what's the final definition of love? The final definition of love is ahava. What does the word ahava mean? The shoresh, hav, to give. What are you doing about it? Nice talk, nice discussion, all kind of sweet words. What do you do? What do you do? If you do for the person, then you're in love. Then you're loving. And we shouldn't even use the word in love. Love is not a noun. Love is a verb. Love is what you do, not what you feel. It's what you practice. A good lover is a good practitioner. He does for the other person. One of the most beautiful ways you can love human beings is by being makabel kol adam b'sever panim yafot. Always accept, greet a person with a pleasant smile. And you may be in the worst mood. You should see a person, smile. Put your troubles aside for a moment and give him what he deserves in the image of Hashem. And we say that at the end, this kind of love is an enormous pleasure. Love is pleasure. What love does is it gives you energy, and that's why we go back to I want to be loved. But also when you give love, you feel the energy. When you give love, you feel happy. When you give love, you feel purpose. You feel valuable. And of course, one of the other things we want to talk about is the love of Torah. Now, the love of Torah really is the love of righteousness and straightness, which we won't get to tonight. Which we got to come back, folks. But the love of Torah is the love, the fact that Torah gives or teaches us righteousness. Torah teaches us straightness. Torah teaches us I once met a guy, a Jewish fellow, who was a Scientologist. Now, we all know nowadays that it was a cult, and it was a cult then, it's a cult today. But this Scientology, I said to him, how can you be a Scientologist and be a Jew? And he said to me, very easy. I'm not rejecting my Judaism. I'm a Jew culturally, historically, traditionally. But in terms of a viewpoint of life, in terms of a system of living, Scientology. And I said, didn't it ever occur to you that Judaism is also a system for living? Didn't it ever occur to you that Judaism has a whole lot to say about how to live properly and how to live well? And he made this kind of dichotomy, which is just untrue. Judaism has lots to say about how to live. That's what the 40 Ways is all about. And so that's why, at the end of the day, you have to love the Torah, because the Torah gives us this blueprint for life. All of this beautiful wisdom, all of this treasured information, it's all Torah. How can you not love the Torah? How can you not appreciate the Torah for that alone? And so we're out of time, but in the end, what you want to do, and what we will do next week, God willing, is to, in fact, learn the love of Torah, the love of righteousness that Torah teaches, the love of straightness that the Torah teaches, see the difference between the two, and watch how it really builds your life. And once you see that, then you will embrace it. And the goal is not to just follow it, the goal is to embrace. It's not just to follow God, it's to embrace God. So we say the whole world at large may sense God, know God, be aware of God, and have a relationship with God. They can't love God. Why? Because it says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Only Israel can feel the oneness of God. And therefore only Israel can love God. The totality of my life is God. He's the one and only. I once said to my Rebbe, a big mistake, I said, God is the main criteria in life. He said, no, he's not. He's the only criteria. Get it straight to me, he told me. So, point being is that we are now challenged to take all this goodness in the world, God, people, the goodness of the Torah, and not just follow it or even live it. That's not good enough. You gotta embrace it. And so when you see people who, let's say, follow religious life, and maybe do so pretty strong, but they don't love it, they don't have a sense of its joy and the bounce that it gives you in life, then they're missing the essence of the teaching. Because the essence of it all is to embrace it. And embracing means what? Doing! How many mitzvahs am I doing? Am I doing more? Can I do better? Can I do a mitzvah better? Can I achieve better? Can I learn more Torah? Do more chesed? That's the whole idea of embracing. And that's what love is. Love is, what do you do? What do you give? What do you input? It's the giving of the love. It's the giving of pleasure. It's the seeing the beauty in people. That's what love is all about. And so, yes, this class is worth about $5,000, but it's free of charge. But I hope you enjoyed it, and your question.